Hey there, everybody. How are you? I'm Shelly Palmer, and welcome to Web3 Wednesday. I'm so happy to have everybody here. What a glorious day here in New York City. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I am having a fantastic day. Many great things are going on. Chat is where it's at, so I hope that you will tell us who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Joey is here to help me take your stuff and put it in chat. So again, just check in, tell me who you are, tell me where you are, tell each other where you are. It's an Ask Me Anything kind of Wednesday, so I'm excited to be here to take your questions. And wow, there's one already right here. Please share your thoughts about Elon and Twitter. That didn't take long. That's crazy. You can do this on Twitter. You can do it on Discord. So if you are a Discord user, would love to have you. You can send it an email, shelly@shellypalmer.com. If you're a Discord user, it's discord.gg/shellypalmer. That's our Discord server. So of course you can ask your questions there. You can ask it right here in chat. So good morning, Doug from Washington. Glad to have you here. I'm glad everybody is here. Yeah, so please ask your questions. Wow, Elon Musk. I was going to get to Elon anyway, so let's just jump. We can jump right into, everybody knows this at this point. Everybody who cares about anything knows that Elon has bought or is planning to buy Twitter. He's lined up his money. He's ready to go. I'm more interested in your thoughts about Elon buying Twitter. $44 billion, which is not chump change. Clearly, he didn't have the liquid funds to do this, and I think that's important. He didn't have the liquid, he's not sitting on a ton of cash, so he had to go get a consortium together to raise the money to do this, which he has done. Good morning, Nathan from Kirkland, Washington. Glad you're here. Frank Quinn, glad you got into Metacademy. Again, all your questions, please, just hit us up. So yeah, Elon's agreed to $44 billion. It's a pretty nice premium promote over what Twitter shares were trading at just the other day. And the deal is supposed to close later this year. I cannot believe how bifurcated the world is over this. I've got half of everybody telling me this is the end of free speech. This is one man's worldview. I got the other half saying this is amazing. Everybody's going to come back and the world's going to be safe for democracy. We can look at Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, and we can say we have a good idea about how this should go. And it's so easy to say, I'm for free speech. What does that mean? What does that really mean? What is free speech? Just to be clear, in the First Amendment, freedom of the press has nothing to do with your right to say what you want to say. In the First Amendment, freedom of the press, which is, by the way, the only industry called out in the Bill of Rights, in the Constitution itself, in the declarations of all government declarations, but in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights, and the only industry called out anywhere is the press. What does it mean? Well, what it means flat out is that the government can't put you in jail for thinking what you think or for saying what you say. That's freedom of expression, is the shorthand, or freedom of the press. It hasn't got anything to do with private industry. And by the way, even freedom of the press or free speech or freedom of expression, while the government can take no action to mess with you, it's not freedom of consequence. You can say anything you want. Now, freedom of the press and freedom of expression and freedom of speech as laid out in the Bill of Rights, in the First Amendment, is still restricted in certain ways. I think the classic cliche is you can't cry fire in a crowded theater because you might put others in danger. Yeah, I get all that. And I think that's important. And I think it's important for all of us to understand that there are even restrictions there. But when Elon Musk says he's going to make Twitter, free and open, and that freedom of speech is really important to him, or free speech is really important to him, that needs a definition. That really does. We have had very open social platforms, 4chan, 8chan, dozens of others, where write anything you want to write, say anything you want to say. And these very quickly devolve into homophobic, misogynistic, Hitler-loving, lie-infested conspiracy theory rat's nests, certainly not anything I'd want to partake in. Not that they don't get popular. They don't get super popular because it's anarchy. And it's very important, I think, for all of us to sit back. When we say free speech, what are we really talking about? We're very used to curation. You read a textbook, somebody curated it. You go to an art gallery, somebody curated it. You tune into a channel of television or you go to a streaming service, someone has curated it. So we're used to curation everywhere. In fact, it's critical because there's so much information in the world. There's no way that we could take it all in and filter it. We do need, and we pay for, we follow and we remunerate curators and caretakers, list makers. We love that. I like people who organize stuff for me. I don't care for filters I don't care for, but I know they're filters. Problem here is, how do you filter? And what does that really mean? It's a pretty interesting question. And so while I appreciate the Socratic and sometimes not so Socratic debate about, well, what's going to happen to Twitter, we don't really know. If you think that AI is going to take the place of humans in curation, not this year, not next, not in our science, I call your attention to two very important just realities of language. Number one, context. All tweets are by definition out of context. Mark Andreessen loves to do things like, that's terrible, or wow. That would be a tweet from Mark Andreessen. You need to go back and find out what that's about. So that thread would be easy for a computer to figure out from a thread perspective, probably easier than a human could. But the meaning? Let's go there. Oh man, that film was so bad. Does that mean bad or good? That film was so bad. Does that mean good? That film was so bad. Well, that has context and inflection, but printed words don't have context or inflection that way. It's almost impossible for AI to understand what that means without a lot of context. That's thing one. Thing two. Prepositional phrase attachment to ambiguity. Shelly drove down the street in his car. A 3-year-old knows that cars go on streets and people go in cars. 3-year-olds know that. But computers aren't 3-year-olds. They're not human. Shelly drove down the street in his car. Is the street in the car? Or is the car on the street and Shelly in the car? It's ambiguous. No context. Even in the sentence itself. Every language is filled with that. Now, we've also got a whole movement where we're trying to change the systemic grammar of the English language. We're trying to become pronoun neutral so that we can have they or them represent in a sentence what his or her used to call out so that we can be more inclusionary. Well, you might be able to get away with that in English where we don't have masculine and feminine versions of words. But in languages where gender is written into the language, this gets damn near impossible, not without a complete rewriting of Italian and Spanish and other languages that have masculine and feminine versions of words. This gets really tough for computers. Really, really tough. So Elon's not going to come up with some magical AI that's going to handle all of this, or the code words, or the prepositional phrase attachment ambiguity, or context. Humans are going to have to make some of these choices. Just for now. Is there an AI in our future? Of course there is. Is it 1 year away, 5 years away, 10 years away, 15 years away? If it's less than 15 years away, I think it's more than more than 5 years away. And the answer could be never. It could be an intractable problem. It could be a problem that doesn't have a solution. It's possible. I don't know. There's no one who's proven you can solve the problem. There's no mathematical proof that says you can solve this problem. There's no mathematical proof that says you can't solve it. So far, it's not solved. So when you say free speech, you really have to have some definitions. Now, Richard Eastburn came up with a really important point here, and Elon's been all over this. Thank you, Richard. Authentication is a good start. So Twitter is in the anonymity business. There are a toxic number of anonymous bots. Toxic number. And they need to go. They can go. I have a little blue check mark by my name. I'm authenticated. I stand by what I tweet. Which is not to say that somebody who had exactly opposing views to mine couldn't be verified and authenticated. But it would be a great start if they took a credit card and a passport and a driver's license and said, you're you, and you'll be responsible for what you say. Say anything you want. Remember, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. It simply means freedom of speech. So, at the end of the day, I think it's really important that we give Elon a little bit of leeway here. He doesn't have the company yet. When he does, he'll take it private. If he follows his normal pattern, he'll put in a team of competent people and he will pretend he's micromanaging them, but maybe he won't. I am hoping that we get authentication because I think that would be fantastic. I would love to see Twitter go into the identity business, not the anonymity business. It would be magnificent if that were true. It would certainly solve all kinds of problems. I would like to see a giant crackdown on malevolent bots and bot traffic of all kind. Now, we use bots. We use news bots. We gather information with bots. We even tweet once in a while with bots. And Scott is asking, does authentication mean verification here? So I think that's in the eye of the beholder. I think that's going to be right. I think if we authenticate that you are you and we validate or verify that you are you, that's probably right, Scott Irwin. But I don't know the answer to that. That would be a question for Elon. The other thing I really kind of like about where this is, just reading down some of the stuff that Elon wrote here. The one that actually makes no sense to me is he doesn't care about the economics. He may not. But he didn't put all his own money into this. He's got a consortium of people who are stepping up to the plate. So they're going to care about money. Funny how people tend to care about money. They ultimately will. My suspicion is they more than will. They will seriously care about the money at a certain point. So, let's be serious. Someone's going to care. All right. Discord.gg, that's where, / Shelly Palmer, that's where the conversation is happening every single day. So if you want this conversation and you want to go deep into it, then yeah, let's go. Just get over to Discord, get over the Shelly Palmer server there and come and hang out with us. And we're going to have a lot of fun. What is this question here? Let's see this question. Hold on. I like this question. What is this question? Does authentication equal KYC, Frank Quinn? Does authentication equal KYC? Yeah, it does. It's know your customer. It's probably not as rigorous as the know your customer that you would use in a financial institution, but sure. It's all the same in that respect. We definitely would want a very clear. I mean, authentication here is otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. You're going to have to get a passport photo, passport or driver's license or some real identification, because otherwise it's just nonsense, right? We don't want 13-year-olds with Twitter accounts. That's the problem with the way that like CCPA is written, and I think even some of the other states' laws are written. You have to be at least 13 years old to use certain websites. Great. Problem is, in most states of the union, you need to be over the age of 18, in some cases over the age of 21, to sign your name, because you're considered an infant until either 18 or 21, depending on the state and depending on what you're signing for, and what you're doing. So no 13-year-old can give you consent. They're not 18, so they need their parent to, it's kind of nonsense. We got to get some of these laws straightened out. KYC is much more rigorous because there are some financial rules that apply. Speaking of financial rules that apply, this is super fun. Fidelity is going to offer crypto in your retirement account sometime later this year. You're going to be able to have on a pick list when you start to allocate what you're going to put in your 401k. You'll be able to choose Bitcoin as one of the choices. I think that is completely, totally awesome that that's possible. I mean, yeah, I think that's totally awesome. I also think what's important for everyone to understand is that it's nonsense. And why is it nonsense? Well, is Bitcoin a store of value? Is Bitcoin digital gold, whatever that means? And I don't know what that might mean, but I hear people say that all the time. Bitcoin's digital gold. Okay, I don't know what that means. Is it a store of value, store of economic value? Maybe. Maybe it is. Is it a currency? Yeah, I don't think I would call Bitcoin a currency, because you don't tend to use it to exchange value on a regular basis because it's so volatile. It feels more like an equity. It feels more like, some kind of commoditized asset that might go up and down in price based on the vagaries of the market. So it definitely feels more like a share stock or some kind of, or some other equity. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is decentralized. So if I want to buy Bitcoin on an exchange, and I put it in my wallet, remember, not your keys, not your coins. So I take custody of my Bitcoin. I don't really need anybody's help. Is it vulnerable? Well, if I don't know how to store my Bitcoin, probably. Am I ever going to sell it? Well, if I'm buying it to hold on to it, a hodler, not going to really need a middle person. Do I want a 401k that has Bitcoin in it that's held by Fidelity in a liquidity pool of their own construction? I can get in and out any day based on a price. That doesn't sound very decentralized or Bitcoiny to me. That sounds like it's just another investment vehicle, and I can say I'm in crypto, but I'm really not in crypto. What are the ramifications of all of that? Right? I need you to just think that all the way down. Why would I buy Bitcoin? And this show's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If you want license, go see a licensed financial advisor. But just for a framework, why am I buying Bitcoin? Am I buying it as an investment? Am I buying it to use as a coin of the realm? Am I buying it because my friends told me to? Why are you buying Bitcoin? And if you've read the 2008 Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, absolutely nothing about Bitcoin has changed since that white paper was written. You can just Google it. Satoshi Nakamoto white paper 2008. You'll get to it. You should read it. After reading that, if you decide you want to own Bitcoin, you want to mine Bitcoin, you just want to own Bitcoin, you want to be part of that, well, what does that mean? Part of it is it's decentralized and it belongs to you, and there's no one to go see. There is no KYC in a Bitcoin transaction unless you choose to work with a exchange that has a know your customer requirement. Now, compare and contrast that, or compare and contrast that with going to Goldman Sachs and buying an ETF that has Bitcoin, or going to Fidelity and saying, put Bitcoin in my 401k. If they're providing the liquidity, you can get in and out of it whenever you want, and they hold custody of the coins. Now, if you've read the 2008 white paper and you're getting into Bitcoin because you believe in what the white paper says about you taking control of value exchange and store of value, and you doing all the stuff that you would do, yeah, then you're going to want to get some Bitcoin. If your financial advisor tells you, you should be in crypto, you should probably be in crypto. But most of the financial advisors I speak to, if they do it at all, are saying no more than 2.5-3% of your total portfolio in crypto. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know if that's a good advice or bad advice. That's what I hear most often. But I have yet to hear a financial advisor say, I have a great idea. Let's use the centralized authority to help us buy Bitcoin. Now it's just another asset that you're investing in a very protected way, and you have none of the benefits of being in crypto. So then you have to evaluate it the way you would evaluate any other investment, because you're not going to use it. You can't use it. It's in a Fidelity portfolio. It's not usable. It's going up and it's going down. Interesting. Fidelity offering that. I was just sort of excited to see it. I don't know if it was smart or stupid, but I was just excited to see it. I have this book that talks all about this, and I'd love you to go have a shot at it. It's very cheap on Amazon. It was number one for a while. It's not number one right now, but it's doing extremely well. Most importantly, at shellypalmer.com/blockchain, you'll find a link to the book. Have at it. But more importantly, there's a whole bunch of blockchain resources. And if you're interested in the conversation we're just having, that's a really interesting place to go and find the resources that that you need to make these decisions. And again, to set yourself up with the framework, and it really is the framework that I'm looking for here for you. Let me just see if I can grab this one piece of information. I'm much more interested in the intellectual framework for how to do this than I am with making you, like, you know, buy my book. Don't worry about the book. Get it. Don't. Go into the blockchain resources and start to go deep into, you know, what makes sense here and what doesn't make any sense. Now, speaking of things that don't make any sense, this past week was amazing. Totally amazing. Bored Ape Yacht Club Discord hack. This one was insane. This is insane. About $1 million worth of Bored Apes and some other assets got hacked when a very bad person, totally bad guy, like when we talk bad guys, the bad guys, totally bad guy, hacks Bored Ape Yacht Club's Discord server and puts a link in. That link gets you hacked. Oh, horrifying. Ordinarily, when something new happens, when some really interesting, cool, new product or service is coming from a foundation, association, a DAO, a group of people who are a community around an NFT or generative NFTs like Bored Ape Yacht Club or Catbotica or CryptoPunks or whatever, ordinarily, the Discord server is the sacrosanct actual official zone where links are safe. Sometimes we say go to the website, the official website, don't follow a link, type in the website or the URL that you are absolutely sure of and go there. Here, the official Discord server was hacked. A malicious link was put in, and it was brutal. So who can you trust and what can you trust? And could this happen to anybody? And the answer is yeah. Instagram can get hacked and any of the communities can get hacked. A lot of this stuff gets socially engineered. Is this super dangerous? It isn't undangerous. And whenever you are in a situation where there is some link to something that's going to get to your wallet, this is where a hardware wallet really comes in handy because it asks you twice. In this case, it wouldn't have helped anybody because everybody would have gone, yeah, let's go. I want to do this. They were socially engineered by a link that was a malicious link. It's really unfortunate. I feel super terrible about it. I don't have any good advice about how to prevent it. It's one of those things where most of the time the good guys win, and every once in a while the bad guys win. And this is a time where the bad guys really won, and there's just no way around it. It's only $1 million, but if it was your Bored Ape, if it was your digital assets, your digital collectibles, you'd be super sad. Now, one of the things that is risk-free and free of charge and totally risk-free is Metacademy. Now, Metacademy.xyz is now in private beta. So, what does that mean? The first 10 sections are online right now. Metacademy.xyz is still a splash page that lets you go there and just sign up. But put the letters PROD, prod for production, prod.metacademy.xyz, one more time, prod.metacademy.xyz, and you will be in the private beta. Now, what I would ask you to do if you're listening is go there for right now. Keep an open Google Doc or Word doc and make notes. And there's a link at the top where you can input your feedback or you can just email your feedback. What I would love you to do, again, is just You know my email address. It's Shelly@ShellyPalmer.com. You can email me now if you want. I'll send you the link with the request, as well as it'll give you a reply address for the feedback that we're looking for. We only put the first 10 sections up because we're trying to just get the mechanics working. There are 20 sections so far that have been completed. At Metacademy, what do? At Metacademy, you're going to install the MetaMask wallet. You're going to fill it with Test ETH from the Rinkeby faucet. You're going to mint your first NFT using Test ETH. You're going to mint a generative NFT using Test ETH. You're going to learn about metadata and rarity and what that all means. You're going to learn about security and hardware wallets. All of this without risking anything. In the second 10 sections, we take you all the way through. You earn some badges, so we'll ultimately have you redeeming those badges, and you'll be able to mint on Polygon NFTs that will get you voting rights in the upcoming Metacademy DAO, and it will allow you to get some real-world merchandise and be part of our super secret handshake club, which will be super fun. But right now we are just trying to test this, and we want to hit it hard. I'm specifically interested in what you understand and what you don't understand, what works and what doesn't work, what's great and what's, to be fair, not so great. I know it needs more videos. We know that some of the explanations aren't as deep as they should be. We're trying to walk this line between super complex and not so complex, and understandable and fun, and yet not a terrifying pain in the butt. So you find it in your heart to help us out, I would really appreciate it. That would be awesome. So thank you. And again, just email me or put prod.metacademy.xyz and just go for it. Register and use the links that are there provided to help us. So, all right, something crazy happened this week. This is really interesting to me. This is really, really interesting to me. So a bunch of famous TikTok doctors got together and they decided to do some NFTs. And what they were going to do was telehealth. And they took all these famous doctors, Dr. Pimple Popper, Dr. Richard Brown, the TikTok person, like all these like famous peeps. And these tokens were supposed to get you telehealth visits. Well, they ran into a little problem. One, you have to be a licensed telehealth service. Two, most doctors are only licensed to practice medicine inside of a given state. You have to be, and certainly board certifications or state boards. So they are in serious hot water here. None of the things they promised are doable. So while it was so interesting to use NFTs as a way to allow people to buy rights to do stuff, and that's how DAOs work, and that's how a lot of foundations work, at the end of the day, what really ended up happening was nothing good. Like nothing good at all. What ended up happening was all these regulatory agencies came down on their head, and they're real live regulatory agencies. And by the way, when we talk about like what Elon's going to do, and when he buys Twitter, he may want all this free speech stuff, but at the end of the day, what he's going to find really quickly is that Europe is going to have none of it. EU is going to come right at him and say, this is what our privacy laws say you can and can't do from a free speech perspective. No one's going to let him just, go do what he wants to do. It's not going to happen. So, regulatory, it's interesting. Move fast and break things, yeah, sure. But when a bunch of doctors get together and start doing something that's, for all intents and purposes, international and certainly across state lines, it's not how the world's set up right now. So, yeah, I think that's really, really important. Got to be very careful. We talk about this and other things on one of my favorite podcasts in the world. I hope you will join us. Every Tuesday, we drop Techstream. It's available wherever your favorite podcasts are found. Spotify, Apple, Google Play Store, Amazon. We're kind of everywhere. Love you to just join me and Seth Everett. We talk about pop culture and tech and this kind of stuff. So, yeah, please. We'd love to have you check out Techstream. What else is going on? First of all, I'll take more questions if you guys have more questions. I see a whole bunch here, but I've covered a lot of it. Mutual funds. What are we seeing here? When will people start favorite? Oh, all right. This is interesting. I guess we should look at this. This is a good question. What are your favorite crypto wallets? I only have 3 favorite crypto wallets and only one real crypto wallet. And again, There's no affiliate links here whatsoever. You're never going to find an affiliate link to a crypto wallet on any of my sites ever, just the actual URLs of the websites. There are 3 crypto wallets that I like. Number 1, best in class, is the Grid Plus Lattice. It's really expensive. It's $400. I like it so much. This one's sitting on my desk. I'll make it go on. There, it's alive. It takes these little cards that make it amazing, and this is about as hardcore as you get. Problem is, it's $400, unless you have a lot of crypto, and it can, it sits in one place, so you're always going to have to be at your desk when you use it. My next favorites are the Trezor, Model T, actually any of the Trezors, and the Ledgers, Ledger, so Trezor, Trezor, or Ledger. They're like anywhere from 150 to 250 each. Please buy them directly from the real website. Do not get them from eBay or Amazon or anywhere. You go right to Ledger, you go right to Grid Plus, you go right to Trezor, and you buy from their website. They take a few minutes to get it. The Trezor and the Ledger are jump drives for all intents and purposes, and you just don't want that in someone else's hands. You want that coming in a holographically, hermetically sealed package from the manufacturer. Learn to use, now all 3 of those, importantly, will attach to your MetaMask. So MetaMask becomes your front end, desktop only. There's no using MetaMask mobile with Grid Plus Lattice. I probably wouldn't use MetaMask mobile ever at the moment. I just wouldn't. But certainly this becomes a desktop environment. I also recommend, if you are serious about crypto and you've got real money in crypto, not like a few $1,000, oh, that's real money, but I'm talking 6 figures plus, where it makes sense to have an super high security. Actually, I'm going to say it differently. If you've got enough crypto where you feel like if you lost it, something terrible would happen in your world, what you should do is take a laptop, preferably a MacBook, because there's just less stuff that tends to happen in MacBook land than there in Mac land or Mac OS land than happens in Windows land from a security issue. All security, not just crypto security, all security. There's less nonsense goes on. Yes, Macs get hacked, but far less frequently than Windows computers. You want to set up your MetaMask wallet on a MacBook, and in my world, nothing else goes on that MacBook. Nothing. That's the crypto computer, and you use it for crypto transactions, and that's what you use it for, and nothing else. Now, a lot of people say, "Well, I can't, dedicate a laptop to it." Okay, then you don't care about security that much. Either you do or you don't. If you care about security, understand that if there's any substantial money in there, it takes about 3 seconds for you to lose all of it if you've done something stupid. So how do you want to make it? How inconvenient do you want to make it for yourself? You want to make it exactly as inconvenient for the hackers. The more inconvenient it is for you, the more inconvenient it is for them. So in my world, that means a separate MacBook Pro. It means separate hardware wallet. It means there's only one browser anywhere in my world and one identity anywhere in my world that's associated with my hardware wallets. And the only exception, and you can do this, I've thought the better of it, but I do it anyway. I got a few $1,000 in a hardware wallet called shellypalmer.eth, shellypalmer.eth. And it doesn't matter what I say because it's explorable. I mean, you can go see what's in that wallet. There's a couple NFTs in there, and there are a couple of ETH in there. And that's it. And that's the most visible thing I have. Everything else you will never find. Yeah, there are public wallet numbers. I don't share them with anybody. That's not the wallet I share. I share shellypalmer.eth, shellypalmer.eth. I don't share anything else. You're not going to find any other wallet numbers anywhere. It's not. So I make it as hard as humanly possible for anyone to mess with anything. And if you're going to get a hardware wallet, that's a great first step. You want to attach to MetaMask for convenience, that's a great first step. Fantastic. MetaMask connects beautifully to Grid Plus, Trezor, and Ledger. Take your pick. Doesn't matter which one. Go forth unafraid. But you want to do it all the way, do it the right way. Make it really hard for the bad guys. Hard for the bad guys is my favorite way to do anything. That's the best of it. Make it just really hard for the bad guys to do absolutely anything. Stripe is now going to take USDC payments. They're going to start with Twitter. So when Twitter, I assume this is still going to happen even through the Elon Musk world, Stripe is going to start with Twitter. USDC is a stablecoin. That's a cryptocurrency that's pegged to the US dollar, the fiat currency. So it always trades within a penny of a dollar, which is really exciting. There's lots of those, right? There's USDC, USDT, BUSD. There's plenty of stablecoins. But Stripe will take a stablecoin. You got to ask yourself here, why are you doing it? And the only reason you're doing it is, pay once, use many. Once you've got some USDC in your wallet, then you can go to liquidity pools, you can go to exchanges, and you can exchange it for other crypto. So that's a nice way to just bypass whatever exchange fees might exist. But on USDC, there generally aren't very high transaction fees anyway. So not sure the value there, but it certainly sounds like fun. And then the question is going to become, Stripe is going to enable you to take USDC payments. Where's that going to live? How are they going to move that to your crypto wallet? How's all that mechanism going to be? I'm very excited to see what that's going to look like. They're working with Twitter first. Hopefully they'll start to work with us and everyone else. And that's going to be, really fun. We have another question here from Chris Let's see, Chris, what are you asking us now? This is, how come the price of crypto seems to follow the DJI, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Standard & Poor's 500? It's a great question. The more traditional finance peeps get in this business, and I said business, the more traditional finance people get into this, the less crypto-y it is, and the more finance businessy it is. And again, not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Sit down with your financial advisor, who, if they're any good at all, they're going to look you right in the eye and they're going to explain to you in financial advisor terms why Bitcoin is now sort of tracking the indexes, tracking S&P and tracking the Dow. Why? It's interesting. I'm not going to offer you a suggestion. I'm going to tell you to ask your financial advisor. But if it looks like a duck, it has feathers, it's got webbed feet, and it quacks like a duck, it's probably not an alligator. So let's have a good talk with the people who you want to have a good talk with that about. Now, one of the things that we do in my world is we try to tackle these problems in a good forum with good Socratic debate. ShellyPalmer.com/Newhouse. If you are interested in getting involved in the Newhouse Advanced Media Lab, which we are starting up now. We've had our first event on April 13th. It was Engaged to Earn Paradigm Shift or Parlor Trick. It was a wonderfully attended event. Thanks to all who came. We're going to have an event every, I'm going to say, 6 to 8 weeks going forward, and we're putting together the lab where we will have fellows and we will have research projects. We're going to try and tackle the world's hardest problems. AI bias, social media addiction, cryptocurrency regulation, centralization versus decentralization, the trilemma, scale, speed, security, pick any two. We're going to try and go through all of that. So I hope you'll join us. There's a sign-up sheet there to get on the mailing list, ShellyPalmer.com/Newhouse, and that'll hook you right up. It'll be fun. Just on the previous question about currency, NFTs are all the rage right now. This past week, Coinbase, whose share prices are at so close to the 52-week low. This morning, it was trading at $129 when I looked. The 52-week low is $125. The 52-week high is $369. Coinbase is having a rough afternoon, but OpenSea is the de facto leader in NFT marketplaces. They're the biggest and the largest. Well, Coinbase should be in there with a kind of a social networky version of it. It should be really exciting. It should be kicking butt and taking names, and yet not so much. We're not seeing it, so they're not seeing the love. I'm totally happy to understand what that's about, but at the moment, all I can say is that Coinbase is a fully centralized exchange with KYC. Chris M just asked, why are the crypto prices tracking the Dow and the S&P? Good time to have a good convo with your financial advisor, who is not me. One thing I will ask everybody to do today, and I hope you will do it. What's going on in the Ukraine is still terrible. It's heartbreaking. And the more I see it, the more heartbroken I am. I know we're sending weapons over there, but these people are losing everything. Mostly their sense of who they are and where they're from, their sense of place, their safety, their loved ones. There is, at the end of this URL, shellypalmer.com/Ukraine, a web page brought to you by NBC Universal and their social responsibility group. They're vetted charities where you can donate to a charity of your choice. You know the money is going to get there. It's going to help the people who are most in need, who are in dire need of everybody's help. I don't understand why Vladimir Putin needs to kill old women and children and blow up buildings. I don't know why this is happening other than the reasons we're told. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I do know that the people who have been displaced and the people who've lost everything need help. They need our help. They need us to do for them what they cannot do for themselves. So this is the safest place I've found to be able to give money. shellypalmer.com/Ukraine. I hope you will go there, and I hope you will give generously if you can. It's just something I think we all need to do, and I feel compelled to ask for it every time I speak publicly. This is my email address. Anything you want to know, anything we can help you with, anything you guys want to do. Again, you want to get into the Metacademy private beta right now and help us out and be part of the beginning of what I think is going to be a super wonderful organization. Just send me an email. It's prod.metacademy.xyz if you want to just go there. But if you want credentials and you want us to invite you into the private beta, just send me an email. By the way, if anything else you want to talk to me about, just send me an email. I'm completely happy to talk to you about any crypto project, any Web3 project, any DeFi project of any kind. We're always on the lookout for new, cool, interesting stuff, and we'd be very, very happy to engage with you or your clients or your friends or colleagues. There is no idea too stupid. That I have figured out. There are plenty of ideas that are too smart, but there are rarely ideas that are too stupid. So don't be shy. Please reach out. We're happy to talk to everybody. As you know, this is my very, very favorite time of every single week. Helps me keep my chops up, keeps me on my game. Your questions are awesome. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Thanks for keeping the chat so active today, because it was really a nice and active chat. Look, we're going to try and do this every week. We're going to try and move the time around a little bit and see if we can make this a little more fluid. Metacademy has a new newsletter. If you're interested in that, just reach out. We'll put you on the Metacademy newsletter. It's going to be a daily news you can use about all things Web3. And that's sort of where this is all going, all things Web3. So thank you for joining me here today on Web3 Wednesday. I wish you a fabulous, safe, and healthy week. And I am looking forward to seeing you all next time. Take very good care. We'll see you soon.